is a shooter.
And the Enjoy Illinois 300 is underway.
Spin, and this shot here by Robert Thomas was a thing of beauty.
St. Louis, number 50, has a minor penalty for ice sticking.
He did make an effort to go out and kind of tip the cap to Evangelista, let them know that that wasn't a purposeful smack in the mouth with the end of his stick. Only Jordan knows.
Exactly.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Plus. We have stories of all-time scoring leaders, racing barrier breakers, and a pair of St. Louis soccer stars who are leading the team into its sophomore season in the MLS. But we begin with some hockey. It was a long day for Jordan Binnington yesterday, and the end result is a $5,000 fine handed down by the league for that play you just saw. Binner is popular in St. Louis and a villain outside the 314. So there has been a lot of social media activity, very happy with the league's action. Earlier in the game, Binner was bumped by Nashville's Alexander Carrier, no penalty, and the play led to a goal. Third period, Luke Evangelista will beat Binnington on a mini break as the Preds built a 4-1 lead. So was Binnington still fuming over that, or was it accidental that he got his stick up in Evangelista's face? Was there perceived intent there as much as Carrier had? Hard to tell. So with the win, Nashville pulls within 2 points of the Blues for the final wild card spot. Minnesota and Seattle are 4 back. The Preds have played one more game than the other contenders. The Blues will play tomorrow at home against the Maple Leafs, a team that handled the Blues easily in Toronto a week ago. Game time is high noon.
Obviously got to learn from this one. Watch some video, whatever it is that you got to do, and flip the page and continue to focus on the next game. And we're going to have to continue to do that down the stretch. It's just one game at a time here, and regroup and focus on Toronto.
The Daytona 500 is NASCAR's kickoff event set for Sunday after the Super Bowl. Mother Nature had other ideas this year. The rains that came down throughout Florida today caused NASCAR to postpone the race until tomorrow afternoon. And so for tonight's main event, we go to Columbus, Ohio, and the biggest college hoops game of the day. Number 2 Purdue facing Ohio State. Jake Diebler making his coaching debut for the Buckeyes, and boy did his team respond. Jamison Battle came up big every time Ohio State needed it. They didn't play like a team that had lost 9 of their last 11 and got coach Chris Holtman fired. Up 12 in the second half, but the Boilers wouldn't go quietly. Under 2 minutes to go, Lance Jones is going to knock down the 3. That would tie the game at 65. But remember what I said about Battle. He will get a step and drive to the stripe to knock it down. Diebler becomes only the second coach since 1996 to win his debut against a top 10 team. He needed a moment at game's end after the 73-69 win.
I don't want to get emotional right now. I had to take a moment just to thank God for just to thank God. Going through the line, I was fighting it, and then my wife made it to the court, and then my parents, and it was trouble after that. I couldn't keep it in anymore.
You may have seen Iowa's Caitlin Clark become the NCAA's Division I scoring leader earlier this week. Clark has taken over the sport recently with her otherworldly play. But in St. Louis, University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy guard Grace Beyer is in pursuit of a similar record of her own.
Here comes Clark. How will she go for history?
While Caitlin Clark sets the basketball world on fire with her record-setting scoring, Grace Beyer is doing the same, just without all the fanfare. Beyer, a senior at the small University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy in St. Louis, is about to become the all-time leading scorer at any level of women's college hoops. She's averaging over 34 points a game and sees everything from opposing coaches.
It's kind of like a puzzle, you know, you have to figure out their weaknesses. So I just always have to find out what their defense is lacking in, and that's just something I need to expose. I'll come off ball screens, sometimes I get trapped, sometimes they just drop 2-3 people into the lane, sometimes they, full court press me.
And oh yeah, she's also becoming a pharmacist in the meantime.
I'm in class 3 hours at a time, multiple classes a day. I constantly have to study, but it's just another goal that I'm I set out to accomplish. I want to be a pharmacist, so I have learned how to balance school and basketball and just kind of get the most out of both.
With 54 more points for the Eutectics, she'll have the record, 3,856 points, and a place of her own in college basketball history.
You know, it's something that you can't even dream of accomplishing, but it is definitely in the back of my head, but I just want to do everything possible to help my team win.
Coming up, the story of a NASCAR barrier breaker and a conversation with two of the most passionate athletes in town. We'll be right back with more Sports Plus.
Espinosa right foot targeting back Bush header. Oh, Roman Berkey, an unbelievable diamond save.
In 2 days, City SC will begin what could be a nearly 11-month soccer journey in 2024. Leading the charge on the field will once again be Captain Roman Berkey and Vice Captain Tim Parker. I sat down with a pair of City SC leaders for this week's Sunday Conversation. We know how competitive you guys are, but how quickly do you put how last year ended behind you and already start looking ahead? Did it stick with you for a little bit, Roman?
Yeah, of course. I mean, during the holidays, I was often thinking about, like, would it have been better to not put that much energy into the regular season, you know, maybe end up in fourth place and just go into the playoffs a little bit further. But as soon as we started here with the team, we had a meeting and we said we are not talking about the past anymore. We look forward to the games to this season, and I think that's the way to go.
Tim, last year at this time, nobody knew anything about you guys really. New guys on the stage, chip on your shoulder, picked to finish last, you finished first. Do you carry that over into this year as well?
Not so much. You know, I think expectations have changed on us as a team, but also as us, we have our own expectations within the locker room. So having that year of familiarity with each other last year obviously gives us a better opportunity this year with a lot of familiar faces being around. But yeah, I mean, the expectations for us, we keep that within the locker room. You know, we like to have high standards, and that's something that we're going to try to hold ourselves to this year.
Now, watching from afar, I think it's pretty safe to say you two are maybe the most intense guys on this team once you cross over the pitch. Roman, first, explain Tim's intensity once the whistle blows.
Yeah, I mean, he has a unique voice. You know, he's very loud, and when he's talking, everybody's quiet and they listen. That's important on and off the field.
Tim, explain Roman's intensity on the field. Is there you have to play up to your potential when he's behind you, right?
Yeah, for sure. He's demanding, but it's a way in accountability. You know, I think it's not that he treats anyone differently. I think everyone is held to the same standard for him. So we all know what's kind of expected out of us, especially when Roman's kind of saying it. So it's not like a hidden message to some guys where it's unknown to others. So obviously we all count on Roman's leadership and his abilities in that goal to kind of carry us through games, and we just try to do our part in holding ourselves accountable to what makes his job easier and what obviously makes the team successful.
Roman, what's Tim like when he's not talking to me or on the field here?
A very funny guy, but serious. I think it's not only Tim. I think we match the vibe in the whole team. You know, like we ask a lot about from each other, but at the same time we try to keep it like funny and chill as well.
Tim, what's something we may not know about Roman that you're able to divulge?
I don't know. I think, you know, it's pretty unique. We have an exclusive club within this club. It's called the Parcheesi Group, and Roman has found a hot streak to start the year in preseason.
There's a lot of mentorship that comes with younger players, and there's been a lot of younger players so far. How do you toe the line of being a mentor and building somebody up, but also holding them accountable, Tim?
Yeah, I think it comes with putting your arm around them first, and kind of developing this level of trust to where they know that now everything that you say is coming from the place of trust and goodwill. I've definitely experienced that with some guys on this team in terms of, you know, a lot of guys that are here now have gotten second chances at careers or have been denied places, and now they're getting another shot here. So we want them to be able to trust us and what we want to do and what looks successful. But there are going to be times where we're going to have to come down hard on you, and it's not picking on you. It's just that's kind of how it has to be sometimes.
Like you said, it's important that we are honest with them. You know, like we try to protect them, we try to help them, but there's also going to be things that we're gonna address, you know, and I think for them the most important thing is to know that this is not nothing personal. It's like just we want to get better, we want to make them better, we want to help them to get better.
Final thought, just why can year 2 be as successful or more successful, hopefully, than year 1, Roman?
Because we learned a lesson, I would say, a little bit, like how it can go, how you can put or focus so much on breaking records, winning the conference, but then not having as much or enough energy maybe to be successful in the part of the game where it counts the most.
This season's 11 months long, so finding yourself in a good enough position to get into the playoffs and then trying to find that peak moment of the season where you're able to kind of start climbing and gaining momentum going into it. Unfortunately, last year I think we actually did the opposite in terms of not having that much momentum going into playoffs. So I think that'll be a focus of the team this year, is to obviously have another good year, but whether that is first in the conference or 7th in the conference, we want to make sure that we're in the playoffs, but we're playing some of our best stuff at that time of the year.
Jason Tatum in Indianapolis to defend his MVP award in the NBA All-Star Game. Tatum had a good night as the East broke out to a big lead. Nice 3 there. He finished with 20. The East would roll to victory, but Minnesota's Karl Anthony Towns put on a show in the second half, finishing with 50 points. The East scores a record 211 points. Yeah, a lot of defense in this one. They win 211 to 186. Final round of the Genesis Invitational at Riviera Country Club. Hideki Matsuyama put on a show, especially over the final few holes with shots like this one. Looks like Andy Moeller out on the golf course. He ran away from a 5-way tie for the lead and ended up winning by 3 thanks to a round of 62. His 9th win on the PGA Tour is a new record for an Asian-born player. Time now for the Victory Men's Health, Frankly Speaking, and a note about spring training on the eve of the first full squad workout for the Cardinals, and some reasons for optimism following the debacle of 2023. Number 1, while the pitching moves perhaps weren't what fans dreamed of, they did make this club better than it was last year, and Sonny Gray can be a legit ace. Number 2, Jordan Walker has a year in the majors under his belt. Year 1 was good. I'm expecting year 2 to be great. And number 3, I refuse to believe with a competitive level of guys like Wilson Contreras, Nolan Arenado, and Paul Goldschmidt, we get a repeat of last year. 2023 proved a disaster can indeed happen in St. Louis. 2024 needs to prove it can't be a trend. That's our show for tonight. For producer Andy Moeller, I am Corey Miller. Have a great night, St. Louis.
Oh, no question. 24. 26. Oh, she's right there with you. Oh. 10 seconds. He got it. He got it. He got it. He got it. Look at him. Oh, he got it. Man, that's the greatest shooter this game has ever seen. I think she should have shot from her. She should have shot from the women's line. That would have been a fair contest.
We are signing off for now, but don't forget, 5 on your side is always on 5+.